Ladies and gentlemen, I am Inkslasher, and I like to make story videos about Call of Duty, and you may have noticed I haven't been uploading much over the past kind of week and a half. I took a little mini vacation to spend some time with family, so I'm sorry about that, but it's summer here and I wanted to kind of take a little bit of time off. But we are back, and today we're going to be diving into what is my favorite Call of Duty campaign and favorite Call of Duty story of all time, which is Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Now, if you didn't know, over on my Twitch, I've been streaming through various different games, going through the Black Ops games currently to get ready for Black Ops 6. But we're also going to be playing other games over there as well, like Call of Duty Vanguard, Infinite Warfare, and some of the games that I really didn't like. But what we're going to be doing on this channel, I have my second channel where those full Let's Plays go up, but on this channel, I like to break down the story of it. And as I found out, this week I actually streamed Black Ops Cold War. There's a lot of things that I found in these games that are really important that I've never made story videos on. So you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed for the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of the story revolving around Call of Duty theories, things along those lines. But as far as this video goes, this one's going to be pretty straightforward. It's just going to be a story summary of Call of Duty Black Ops 1, what I believe is the best story of any Call of Duty game. And I'm going to be telling it a little bit different. I'm not going to be telling it the way that they tell it. I'm going to be telling this one in chronological order. In other words, the way that things actually happened and the kind of timeline of it, if you will. But as you're going to see, it kind of reveals a little bit more about the story and what actually happened in Black Ops 1. So without further ado, this is a full story summary of Call of Duty Black Ops 1. My favorite Call of Duty game. On October 29th, 1945, Viktor Reznov, alongside his best friend and colleague, Dmitry Petrenko, go into the Arctic Circle, searching for something. Being directed by Nikita Dragovich, Lev Kravchenko, and looking for a German scientist by the name of Friedrich Steiner, they are hunting down something known as Nova 6 gas. Eventually, they make their way onto a boat where they find that Nova 6 gas. However, at this point, the bad guys, Dragovich, Kravchenko, Steiner, turn on Viktor Reznov and end up using the Nova 6 gas on Dmitry Petrenko. Now, there is something interesting at this point going on between Petrenko and Viktor Reznov, but that's something for a future day. You will see what I mean by that in another video. However, after using this, the British Army then attacks said boat and manages to allow Viktor Reznov to escape, sinking the boat and destroying the Nova 6 gas. However, being wounded, Viktor Reznov is eventually captured and taken somewhere by the name of Vorkuta prison. Many years later, in April of 1961, we pick up with our new characters, the Black Ops characters, where we have Frank Woods, Alex Mason, Joseph Bowman, all going into Cuba for the Bay of Pigs invasion. Now in this, they are set to assassinate Fidel Castro, and they break into his compound and eventually, seemingly, take him out. As it turns out, it was a body double, and Fidel Castro was actually working with Lev Kravchenko and Nikita Dragovich and all of those other bad guys. However, they kill the wrong person, and then they go to escape, making their way to an airstrip. Upon getting there, though, their airplane is blocked. The airstrip is completely blocked. But unselfishly, Alex Mason gets off the plane, gets on a gunner, and destroys the things that are on the airstrip. However, when this happens, he is then captured and taken in to Vorkuta prison.
We killed you.
No. You killed a double. You think we didn't know of your plan?
We always know.
Do with him what you wish, General. He's my gift to you, in honor of our new relationship. Just make sure that he suffers.
He will know suffering beyond his darkest fears. I have plans for you, American.
Moving forward to October of 1963. At this point, Viktor Reznov has been captured for almost 20 years, right around 18, whereas Alex Mason has been captured for about 2. Now, well in Vorkuta prison, Alex Mason has been brainwashed. He has been brainwashed by Lev Kravchenko, Friedrich Steiner, Nikita Dragovich to essentially become a sleeper agent for Russia. However, at the exact same time, Viktor Reznov knew what was going on and was kind of running a counter-brainwashing situation. Now, the bad guys were trying to brainwash him to assassinate JFK. Don't worry, we will get to that. Whereas Viktor Reznov was trying to brainwash him to kill the bad guys. We will see what happens with that coming on up. But at the same time, Viktor Reznov works with Alex Mason to plan an escape from Vorkuta prison. Now, eventually, Viktor Reznov and Alex Mason are essentially the only two that were able to fully escape, and as they drive away on a vehicle, Alex Mason jumps off the vehicle onto a train, whereas Viktor Reznov drives off into the sunset. Now, it is assumed at this point, based off of what we hear from Jason Hudson and other characters throughout the game, that Viktor Reznov dies here. However, it is not the last we've seen of him. We'll get to that one in a bit. However, Alex Mason escapes and ends up making his way back to America, where he meets his new handler, Jason Hudson. Now, at this point, Mason is briefed by none other than JFK. Now, there's a bunch of weird things about this scene that we will come back to. However, what you need to know is that at this point, he was brainwashed by Nikita Dragovich to kill JFK. So you kind of have all of these trippy scenes throughout this where he's pulling a gun on JFK, so on and so forth. But JFK gives him the instructions that he needs to take out Nikita Dragovich in order to keep the world safe. So that is what we have moving forward. But again, keep this scene in mind. We're going to come back to it. Now, on November 17th, 1963, our characters are sent into the USSR, specifically to save someone by the name of Grigory Weaver. Now, before they are able to do so, he is stabbed in the eye by Lev Kravchenko. They are able to get in and rescue Weaver, but not before Kravchenko is able to escape. Now, this mission is not important for the mission itself. It is important because it actually takes place 5 days before the assassination of JFK on November 22nd, 1963. And just 5 days later, at the very end of the campaign, we are given this scene, which heavily implies Alex Mason was involved in the assassination.
11, 22, 21, 5, 17. 17, 0, 10, 2, 23, 1, 8, 11, 25, 22, 9, 4,
6.5 millimeter.
9, 23, 1, 12, 0, 12, 16,
11, 22.
6, 12, 8, 4, 1, 6, 2, 10, 2, 1.
Texas.
So Alex Mason was seen at the scene of the JFK assassination, but there is more than this. Remember how I said think back to that scene where he meets with JFK? Well, as JFK is walking in, this takes place 12 days before his assassination. And on the TV screens in the background, we can actually see scenes from the assassination, including an image of Lee Harvey Oswald. How would it be possible for Alex Mason to see these things before, specifically 12 days before it actually happened, if he wasn't involved? Now, we then fast forward 5 years later to January of 1968, where Mason and his team, including Frank Woods and their handler Jason Hudson, are sent into Vietnam as a part of the MACV SOG unit. They are sent there because there is rumors of the Russians working alongside the Vietnamese. Now, they are sent in here, they have to defend an area, but later on are sent in to Hughes City. They are sent there to meet with a Russian defector. Now, the Russian defector was never found except for one person that Alex Mason finds, that being Viktor Reznov. It appears as though he has actually lived, and he gives Alex Mason the dossier.
Mason.
Reznov, how'd you get out of Vorkuta? Never thought I'd see you alive.
Not are you, my friend. I am here with a warning. Your government would do well to heed. Dragovich is planning an attack on the west.
You get what you came for?
Dragovich, I knew we'd see him again.
Now, it's also important to note that during this, if you actually take a look around the room, you can find a dead Russian character holding a dossier. We will come back to this later. Now, based off of the dossier, our team then moves into Laos, specifically to find a shipment of Nova 6 gas. Eventually, they find a downed Soviet plane, and when they go inside, they are captured by the Viet Cong and Spetsnaz forces. This is when, in my opinion, we get one of the greatest and darkest scenes out of any Call of Duty game.
Bowman.
Tired. Just want to end this.
You don't mean that, Bowman.
Fuck you, Charlie.
Bowman, don't.
You dead American.
Последний шанс. Играй или умирай.
You don't scare me. Communist piece of shit.
Bowman! Bowman! You fucking son of a bitch!
Next.
I'm gonna kill you all!
Don't you touch me!
What? Shit. Motherfuckers. I'm gonna make them pay.
You! No talk. Play!
What's the plan? I'm thinking.
No talk!
One chance, Mason. We'll take it. Okay.
Bang! You can't kill me! You shoot, GI, you shoot! Fuck!
This time, do it.
Aim lang!
Ready.
Play. Bang!
6 and 8 o'clock.
So from here, Woods and Mason commandeer a hind and make their way to Kravchenko's compound. Upon getting there, there's a scuffle between the three, and eventually Frank Woods ends up getting a grenade pulled on him and jumps out a window with Kravchenko, both of which are assumed to be dead. However, as we know, that is not the case. Actually, Frank Woods wakes up after Kravchenko and is dragged off and held as a POW. Now, when Alex Mason comes to, he is seemingly rescued once again by Viktor Reznov, someone who he's seen several times throughout the Laos campaign. And when he comes to, he realizes that Frederick Steiner and the Nova 6 gas are being held at a place called Rebirth Island. So that is where he goes next. Now, while this whole Laos area is going on, we have Jason Hudson and Gregory Weaver going to Kowloon Walled City to interrogate a doctor by the name of Dr. Clark. When they do so, he reveals a facility in an area called Mount Yamantau, in which Hudson and Weaver go to next. And upon getting there, eventually they find out about somewhere by the name of Rebirth Island once again. So again, Jason Hudson and Gregory Weaver make their way to Rebirth Island. However, the problem is Alex Mason found out about it first and goes there all alone, or at least with Viktor Reznov. Now, the two of them, or seemingly the two of them, make their way through Rebirth Island, sneaking their way through, and eventually make their way into the inner sanctum and find themselves in a head-to-head confrontation with Frederick Steiner, one of the creators of Nova 6 gas, and one of the people who also brainwashed Alex Mason.
You must hurry before they kill me too!
Friedrich Steiner. This is the end.
I know you. Vorkuta. You don't know what we did to you.
Mason, talk to me.
Your evil has claimed the lives of many good men. No longer.
Killing me will not stop Nova. I do not care about Nova. My name is Viktor Reznov. And I will have my revenge!
Now, Jason Hudson and Gregory Weaver have reached Rebirth Island around the same time, but a little bit behind Alex Mason. And by the time they end up getting their way into the inner sanctum, they end up seeing something very, very different.
And I will have my revenge! Mason, no!
I'm fine. Check Steiner. He's dead. What about Reznov, the defector? We need to find him.
We won't. He was never here. I didn't believe it till I saw it with my own eyes. What did they do to you in Vorkuta, Mason?
Steiner dead. Mason's our only link to the numbers broadcasts.
We need to bring him back.
So it turns out that Viktor Reznov was never really there. So at this point, Alex Mason is then captured and brought into custody by Jason Hudson and Gregory Weaver. Why? Because at this point they figure out that there is a number sequence inside of his head that the only person that could have decoded was Frederick Steiner. But Steiner is now dead, so the only thread that they have left to untangle is what is going on inside of Alex Mason's mind. So the entire time that you see this brainwashing from the very beginning of the campaign, it actually takes place at the very end of the story. So at this point, Jason Hudson comes out and says, Mason, we need to know what the numbers mean. Something bad is going to happen if you can't figure it out. But of course, Alex Mason doesn't believe them and goes on this trippy sequence. Now, during this time, we find out what really happened. First of all, we find out, as we've discussed, that while in his time in Vorkuta prison, Alex Mason was brainwashed not only by Lev Kravchenko, Nikita Dragovich, and Steiner, but also Viktor Reznov. The bad guys brainwash him to kill JFK, which we've already talked about, and one more thing is going to come up about that, whereas Viktor Reznov brainwashed him to kill the bad guys. All the while, he's been seeing Viktor Reznov, but seemingly that has been just inside his head. Now, this number sequence, as we find out, there are sleeper agents all across America getting this number sequence from a broadcast station. And in that number sequence, eventually Alex Mason decodes it to find out where that is, a location known as the Rusalka. So Alex Mason alongside Jason Hudson and Weaver go and attack the Rusalka with a full-on assault, all in the means of tracking down, stopping the numbers broadcast, and killing Nikita Dragovich. And that is exactly what happens at the very end.
Dragovich! Yes! I'm gonna kill you! Trying to fuck with my mind! Quiet! You don't know anything! Try to turn me against my own! Try to make me kill my own president! Right? Come on, Mason! Mason, this way!
So, Alex Mason ends up killing Nikita Dragovich, drowning him deep down inside the Rusalka. However, this happens slightly after it is heavily implied that Dragovich successfully brainwashed Alex Mason into killing JFK when he says tried. Now after this, Alex Mason and Hudson manage to escape from the Rusalka, swimming up to the surface and making their way to safety. And that is how Black Ops 1 ends. And that is the full story of Call of Duty Black Ops 1. But there are more games in this story. We have Black Ops Cold War, Black Ops 2, multiple parts to that story. So if you enjoy these type of videos, the story summaries, the deep dives into them, exploring all the lore, show me by hitting that like button, and we'll continue to do this with games like Cold War, with games like Black Ops 2, and maybe even some other games altogether like Infinite Warfare or Vanguard, one that I really don't like. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and of course, to stay up to date on everything Call of Duty and everything involving the story, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on. But as always, thank you so much for watching. This has been my favorite Call of Duty game, at least campaign-wise, of all time. And as always, till next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're made